Right, Dave, let's move on to content again. Guy Kawasaki, I think, sums it up when he talks about feeding the content monster. And I think most businesses or people in marketing generally, it's the thing that scares them the most is, can I create enough content day on day? So what's your take on curating content versus creating your own unique content?
Yeah, I think you can do a combination of both. I think the curation is good because it enables you to comment on topics that are happening and engage with different discussions that are elsewhere. That said, though, if I had to pick one or the other, it's going to be content creation because I think that's the way that you position yourself as the expert. You get your message out there, you demonstrate your authority, it is a problem that I see with a lot of businesses. The struggle to get content out, especially if you're a small business, medium-sized business, you're just getting caught up in the day-to-day. And creating content, oftentimes you'll see it as important but not urgent. So it gets, pushed down the list, and it's something that you'd never get around to. That's one of the reasons, because we had some clients that weren't creating content. And that's one of the reasons we created this idea of authority content. One of the core components of authority content as a strategy is to batch the content creation and try and in one day capture as much content that you can feed out over a period of time. And I think that's the way to do it for a lot of business owners, or you need to get someone on staff in the team whose job it is to be creating that content and driving it forward. Because the business owner, they won't find the time. Similar to oftentimes creating systems and processes, most business owners, they won't find the time to do that. Yet they know intuitively it needs to be done. They know that content needs to be created, so you need to create the right structure to be able to get the team to do it, and then a good mix between the two of the curation and the creation as well.
Yeah, so just expand a bit on that, Dave, if you can, because I know your mentality was to run a workshop, video the workshop, break the video up into small sections, then make that into text, split the audio out of it, make it into podcasts, things like that. Is that very much how you try and do it? So you do the work once and then you create all these pieces of content splintering off, if you like.
Yeah, exactly right. So, and this is the way that we work with clients. We've now systemized the heck out of this and turned it into a product where stage one is you talk with the client to get very clear on their target market and what are their problems and questions that they are answering on a frequently asked basis. So we really get all of that out and create a bit of a structure. It might take the form of a workshop. It could just be a day in the studio. It could be a day at their office. It doesn't really matter. It's just about getting very clear on what those questions and problems that you can add some value, batching it into one session where you just create, 20, 30 videos all in one go. And then that content gets edited together and it's the right balance between quantity versus quality. And then it gets loaded to the website and depends on the business. It can be sold either as a product. If it's a digital product, that works sometimes if you're in a service-based business. But if you're selling a physical product business, like we just worked with a pool manufacturer, or we did a domestic cleaner just recently, obviously them selling information isn't really going to fit with their business. So what we do with them is we create it into a useful guide that lives on their website. So all of the questions are there, all of the videos get uploaded to YouTube, as you said, transcribed, then they get optimized and loaded to the site as content pieces. And then we can take that, chop it up into bits even further, and then start to share it around the web. You drip it out over a longer period of time across all of their socials, and you basically just tailor the content piece to the social platform. So certain platforms are going to work better than others for video. So let's say you're on LinkedIn. Okay, well, if your audience is on LinkedIn, you might take the transcription, turn it into an article, and then that becomes a blog post, because those blog posts tend to perform better over there. Maybe it's posting a YouTube video or uploading natively on Facebook. So it's really about getting very clear on that target audience and where they are, taking that content that we talked about even right at the start, tailoring it to the platform, and then disseminating it across those different platforms.
Yeah, and do you find that B2B businesses differ to B2C, or is it very much a similar principle? Just
Very much the
problems.
same,
Yeah,
because it always just comes back to the person buying. Like, people are doing business with people,
yeah,
and you're still selling to people.
yeah.
So your job as a business owner is to try and solve problems, and you can use content to solve some of the cheap and easy ones without your product or service. And then obviously, as they escalate up, if they've got bigger problems that you can solve, then hopefully they get to know you for your other products and services, regardless if it's B2B or B2C.
Yeah. So you're thinking that creating the content is definitely the way you're adding value to your potential customers, but curating content keeps you more relevant and shows you understand the market and what interests them as well.
Yeah, yep. I think a healthy balance between the two. And I tend to, for me, for the curation, I capture a lot of it on Twitter. Like, it just depends on the platform. I'll do a lot of sharing and capturing of that curated content on Twitter. And then from there, I've got an assistant who captures it. And then that gets fed into a sort of monthly email that I send out, and it gets used that way. Very rarely do we do some blog posts around someone else's content, but, you know, that's occasionally gets used as well.
Do you cover this in the book as well, Dave? Sorry, I'm just going to give you another chance for a free plug of the book.
Yeah. Thank you.
Right.
We go into great detail because I'm a systems guy. That's my whole thing. So I broke this down into a process, and then explain the process in very good detail, because it's one of those things. I want to have it that someone can pick up the book and run with it. If they've got the right resources or the team, then they can do it themselves. If there's someone who goes, look, I'm a large enough business and I want you to do it for me, then we have a done for you solution. So it's like me being, I suppose, the best example of what it is that I'm teaching. As we're talking now, like I try and have everything that we do be that best example.
Perfect. Well, thanks for that, Dave. And I'm just going to finish that there.